Great. So, hello everybody. This is a webinar supporting young people with positive body image. We are the Trafford Thriving Education mental health support team. My name is Camilla. I'm one of the senior mental health practitioners in the team.
My name's Christian. I'm one of the education mental health practitioners within the team. So today we're going to be looking at how to support young people with body image. So we're going to understand what we mean by the term body image. We're going to consider what effects body image have on young people specifically. We're going to consider the impact of having negative body image and what implications that can have. We're going to consider how to open up conversations with young people about body image because it's quite a tough topic to kind of breach with young people. And then we're going to lastly look at some strategies on how to improve young people's body image as well. Since it's a pre-record, we're not going to obviously look for audience involvement, but just take a moment to have a bit of a think about, how you feel about supporting young people with their body image at this point in time prior to sort of the content that we cover today. We're going to have a little bit of a prompt later on as well, just to, I guess, help you think about maybe some things that you might have picked up throughout this webinar and what you might have learned to try with your young people.
Okay, so that first kind of agenda item was thinking about what is body image, like what comes to mind when we hear that term. What kind of conversations might you have had around body image? So just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page, when we're talking about body image today, we're talking about how we think, how we feel about ourselves physically, but also how we believe others see us. And these feelings, these thoughts, they might be positive, they might be negative, they might be a combination of both, and they also might change depending on which situations we find ourselves in. So we might be feeling quite positively, thinking quite positively about our physical appearance when we're doing one thing, and then that might be quite negative when we're doing something else. And just kind of bring our attention to kind of the why this is important. These statistics are a few years old now, but still kind of quite relevant. So these were from the Mental Health Foundation in 2019, and they really just highlight about kind of how much young people kind of think about body image and how much they worry about it. So the first one in that kind of lilac-y box says, among 11 to 16-year-olds in the UK, the Be Real survey found that 79% said how they look is important to them, and 52% often worry about how they look. And then at the top there, we've got almost half of 18 to 25-year-olds said images on social media had caused them to worry about their body image. And, as we know, social media is something that's kind of boomed over the last sort of 10 years and is something whereby we're seeing images all the time, constantly. And so perhaps that's not kind of so surprising. But what do we do about that? And then the third one there is 4 in 10 teenagers said that things their friends have said have made them worry about their body image. So that's really interesting as well, about the language that we're using, about how young people are talking to each other. And we will come to that later on about how we speak about body image and how we want to promote more positive language and conversations.
Yeah, some really staggering statistics there on how young people are engaging with their body image and how negative sometimes it can be. So we're going to have a bit of a think about some of the factors that might contribute to body image. And the first one is naturally going to be social media, which Camilla just touched on. Social media, big presence at the moment, especially for young people. Currently some talks around obviously the government restricting young people using social media, whether that's a fix or not, that's up for debate. But absolutely a big driving factor in what is affecting young people's body image at the moment. We've also got things like culture, gender identity, peer views, family environment, puberty, ability or disability, past experiences, bullying, competitiveness, and neurodiversity. I'm sure that's not an exhaustive list, but there are quite a few things there that are coming into play for young people. And it's really important to note as well that, young people are going through a lot of change naturally. They have a lot of pressure on them from other sources, such as exams or friendships and that kind of stuff. So they're definitely more susceptible to these kinds of things around them. And it is probably going to impact their body image in some respect, or maybe the way that they have their relationship with their body image and the way that they see themselves. So it's just being mindful of all of these things around the young person that could be impacting them as well.
And then here we're just kind of thinking about what the impact is of having that negative body image. So kind of following on from what Christine was saying about how it might develop in the first place, and then here we're thinking about, okay, and then what is the impact on our daily lives? So young people might be kind of just constantly worrying, constantly feeling unhappy, and with different features of their bodies, or something around their face, and constantly checking. They're kind of preoccupied with that, not able to engage fully in what they're doing. They might be doing a lot of comparing to others. They might be spending a sort of an excessive amount of time getting ready for things, arriving late, missing things. Or kind of not going to something altogether. Maybe kind of putting a lot of focus on that number on the scale, kind of weighing themselves a lot, thinking about their shape, the outline of their body, withdrawing from activities that maybe they used to do, maybe trying to follow different trends, different diet trends, kind of starting to develop kind of not a great relationship with food. Maybe increasing activity, physical activity, which it's great to get into kind of fitness and being strong, but kind of if that is not, if we're increasing our physical activity, then to maintain that, we need to be fueling our body. And if we're seeing young people kind of increasing physical activity but not meeting what their needs in terms of what they're eating, then we're going to see kind of drastic changes in their appearance, such as weight loss. Maybe kind of not eating, not wanting to eat in front of others. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's kind of body image concerns, but it could be, because it could also be kind of sort of a social anxiety type thing as well there. And maybe struggling to identify positive qualities about themselves as well. And yeah, just impacting how they're socializing. So there may be others that you can think of, but they're kind of ones that you might be able to see quite clearly.
So obviously we're a mental health support team, and we just wanted to highlight how negative body image can impact mental health and obviously have negative outcomes in that respect. It's important to note, obviously, that body image or having poor body image is not in of itself a mental health condition, but absolutely it can contribute to some negative outcomes for our mental health. Obviously, here's a few in bubbles around negative body image here. So it can absolutely have impacts on depression or low mood. It can affect OCD behaviors, so obsessive compulsive disorders. You might see more rituals or more sort of routines around food and eating. Can absolutely impact low self-esteem. Can contribute to a lack of self-care. Can make you feel anxious about social environments or being around other people. As Camilla touched on there, around eating in front of others, that can sometimes be something that you might notice becomes a problem for a young person. Of course, it can identify or sort of lead up to emerging eating disorders. And in some cases, it can contribute to sort of self-harm and suicidal ideation as well. So that negative body image, it really can have an impact on all of these factors for young people. Not saying that it will contribute to all of these for every young person. It might just be one, two, it might be none. But it is just something to be mindful of as we move through. and obviously why it's such an important topic for our young people and how we should sort of be viewing and supporting them moving forward.
So we just kind of wanted to bring your attention here to this report that was released by the Health and Social Care Committee from the House of Commons. You can read the full report online. It's available if you just type in the title, which is The Impact of Body Image on Mental and Physical Health. Just in 2022. And this little part of it we just thought was really interesting, and one that we can really try to do something about with how we as adults, as parents, as carers, as staff members can think about behaving and talking and communicating and highlighting and supporting our young people. So they found, with kind of all the surveys that they did, and there is no single cause for body image dissatisfaction, and the causes often differ depending on the characteristics and or circumstances of the individual. The Women and Equalities Committee's 2021 report, Changing the Perfect Picture, an inquiry into body image, found the most persistent causes of body image dissatisfaction to be these 5 points. Colorism discrimination affecting people of colour, where lighter coloured skin is viewed as more desirable. Weight stigma, so those with either a higher body or a lower body weight than average being subject to prejudice and discrimination. Exposure to media depicting unrealistic and narrowly defined appearance ideals. I think, that one is clearly sort of pretty obvious. Appearance-related bullying and sexual harassment, and the emphasis on the importance of image and beauty in society. So that again is really kind of where thinking about language and what we talk about first when we talk about somebody unintentionally is often what they look like, rather than how they were as a person, how they interacted, what they were talking about, the stories they brought. Often the first line is, oh, they looked fantastic, didn't they look amazing? And it's a balance. It's not about saying we shouldn't ever do that. It's just about a balance. So just a really interesting report if any of you would like to kind of go and read the full report. Just wanted to bring attention to that section. And a little note on eating disorders, whilst we are not at all saying here on this webinar that having body image difficulties, body image concerns means you are going to develop an eating disorder. That is not the message. Body image concerns can be a contributing factor to developing disordered eating. So that's what the message is there, along with lots of other factors. And also just recognise that nationally in this country, from 2015 to 2024, we don't have the 2025 statistics yet. Diagnosed eating disorders in young people have increased year on year, between sort of 1% to 2.6% increase each year. That is concerning and just something to consider and bear in mind. We're going to watch this little video now, which was released from the BBC a good few years ago. Some of you may have seen it. It's about 5 minutes and it's quite a difficult watch. If you don't feel you're in the sort of right headspace to watch this right now, then please kind of skip over and you can fast forward. We're going to be watching young people talking to each other in twos, and they're going to be saying out loud what their thoughts are about themselves, their appearance, their appearance about themselves, but they're saying it in the third person. So they're going to be saying you as opposed to I, because the idea is, would you say the thoughts that you have about yourself to another person? And if you're able to articulate them, just the impact of it. So let's have a watch. And as I say, just sort of take a moment afterwards if you need to, or if you're not ready to watch this right now, you can skip over. Okay, so just take a moment if you need to. You know, that sort of the part of that was, it's quite hard to watch, kind of these young people kind of saying out loud these things which are really heartbreaking and really sad, and just really highlights the need to support young people to think differently about themselves, and not be striving for these sort of unrealistic, unattainable messages that they're fed. So